welcome to Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. I am Mr. Randy, and welcome to another episode of a full review for a gin McCormick. I'm sorry, excuse me on that one. A McCormick gin. This is a London-style dry gin. Got a little bit of good information about McCormick, but let's go ahead and get started. So if you're new to the channel, hello, welcome. Come on in, get comfortable. All my returning viewers, good to see you as always. Come on in, let's get this started, shall we? So this is a part 2 of a 3-part series that Mr. Randy does to review, get to know the libation. Full review is going to, we'll take a step back real quick. Part 1, get the bottle home, crack it open, pour it in a glass, have a taste, share my first impressions with you, because first impressions are always the best. Until they're not. Maybe second impressions. You know, anyways, part 2, where we're at today, halfway down. I've given this spirit, libation, what have you, enough time and space to open up, if it will at all. For better or for worse, it is what it is. La sera, sera. And I will get as much information as I possibly could. And today I got a little bit more last minute about McCormick. So part 3 is going to be all the way down here at the very end. The final pour, thusly named. We're going to have the final pour. We're going to compare it to the first pour in part 1, and then everything in between. So let's go ahead and get on with this, shall we? So it is a gin. It is a American-made gin using American grains. Let's let that sit there for just a second. So this is a McCormick. Now, McCormick is sort of like a distributor. They also have their proprietary product line, which is a little weird. I haven't really seen a lot of those types of liqueurs and other type of libations or cocktail mixing stuff. But the majority of their line is the heart, and it's this line. It's not the gin, but it's the McCormick. They put their name on it, and it's a general type of alcohols and libations. They do, let me flip this over, I got it written down because there's a lot of these. They do vodka, and vodka was primarily their like workhorse for the average American working man who didn't have a whole lot of money, but also wanted to have a little bit of a drink at the end of the working day. And so they started with vodka. Vodka is relatively cheap and easy to produce. Before that goes off, yep, I knew you were going to do that. That's why you're going away. Bye-bye. Where was I? Vodka. Yes, of course. So vodka easily turns into gin. How do you do that? Well, you take the vodka, and while you're distilling it and processing it, you take it through some a filter media that consists of botanicals and like other types of things. Coriander. What's the other one? Completely lost it. But we're going to skip on over. They do vodka. They do gin. They do an American whiskey. They do a bourbon whiskey, which if I find it, I'm going to try it. They do a rum. That was kind of shocking. Even more so, they have a Canadian whiskey and a tequila. So there, as you can see, that whole lineup of basically your standard typical libations, there is no scotch. Not that I found, not that comes out of their own website. Some people say yes, they do. There is a listing at a store. I'm going to go check it out. I don't think it's a scotch. I do not believe it is a scotch. I'm going to go look. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to try it. And I'm going to share that with you. So as far as I have understanding, there is no scotch in the McCormick lineup. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on. The most shocking to me was that they do make a Canadian whiskey, but then I see the rum is from the islands, so tequila as well. So I mean, there's all that kind of stuff there. So that's very interesting. We might experience the McCormick rabbit hole a little more in the coming days. So the McCormick is based out of Weston, Missouri, and we're going to go ahead and get started on this. So I found that if I coat the glass and let it kind of build up on the glass, you'll see that there's a little bit more legs. You see how that came out a little bit better after you've let it sort of cling to the glass for a few minutes, and then you start getting some decent legs coming out of it. So Weston, Missouri. Okay, so off the rip has a better nose than this. This one, I think maybe because of all that swirling and agitating. Okay, so now I'm going back to the nose. It's not as, that first attempt at the nose was very ethanol. Like just a straight ethanol. Now there's definitely getting that coriander. You're getting that spice. And that citrus is coming from the coriander. So McCormick is, this particular style, the London Dry, is where there's no sweetness added. There's nothing else added. It's water in the distillation through that whole process, through botanicals and organic stuff. There's nothing artificial added, no added sweeteners for nothing. It's basic, a basic distillation. So it's got a beautiful nose. It's very light and crisp, as some gins are. Let's get on the palate. Yeah, I'm probably going to say that first palate didn't. I'm just off today, I guess. The first nosing was awful. That first palate was not great. Maybe I didn't do a warm-up. There it is. There it is. I slipped up. I did not do a warm-up today. That's a little better, yeah. So there's that weird kind of bitter sweetness that sort of lingers on the lower end. You got some spice, there's some tingliness on the top of the tongue, a little bit on the lips. The heat quickly starts up in the back. I'd say probably a 2. I think it's starting to crank up to a 3 though. So McCormick, out of Weston, Missouri, was established in, what, 1856. Pretty much a standard here in the States of basically like your lower end, more affordable lines of whiskeys and spirits and libations. I know some people have said they've never heard of this, and I think it's kind of unique. There's a big thing in the industry, or actually it's just on the planet really, that if you don't see something and then something comes out of nowhere, you kind of attribute a specialness to it. Like, well, that must be special. It's good. It's not really special. It's affordable. That might be the special part about it, that it's good and it's affordable. So how affordable is it? This bottle is $8, less than $8 out the door, and that's an average. This 1 liter, I'm sorry, we didn't even get a look at the bottle. So this 1 liter of gin, and it's a good gin, is under $8. It's in general under $10 anywhere I've seen it. Weston, Missouri. And there's nothing on the back. There's nothing on the back. The actual website itself is pretty slim pickings on details and information. And that's kind of a running theme across most websites and other forums, where any information that can be obtained by of McCormick or their products is basically word of mouth. People who work there, have worked there. There's not a lot of stuff actually documented and like put out there on the web. It's a lot of copy paste when it comes to the actual, product in the bottle. Not a lot of history behind the stuff. That's unfortunate. But let's go ahead and get a finish on this. And if you've never tried a gin, this is probably a good one to try. It's only $8 for a liter. I would also recommend that you grab a bottle of tonic water. Grab a bottle of tonic water and have yourself a shot of tonic with like 2, maybe 3 shots of the tonic water. Give it a little stir, maybe a few ice cubes, sip on it. It's very light, it's very refreshing. You can drink it straight, as I just did, and you can enjoy it straight. Well, this is a 40% alcohol by volume. I do believe I forgot to mention that. And I believe that most gins will have a better experience with a higher proof, a higher ABV point. Ugh. So the finish is still got some effects lingering, probably a 1-ish on the scale. Like everything's still there. I can still feel all the afterness, the aftertaste is next to nothing, but the effects are there. A little bit of heat in the back. The cheeks are still a little bit astringently numb. The tongue barely feels anything, but I can feel something. The lingering effects is the one thing about the finish. My score on this, given that it's a 1 liter, it's $8. It's pretty much a shelf stable bottle. When it comes to gin, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, don't even think about the price being that low. It doesn't make it a cheap gin. It makes it a very inexpensive gin. Most gins that I've been experiencing lately have been up into $30 to $40. This one's less than 10. And it's definitely really good in cocktails, mixes, and just gin and tonic. Well, there it is. So my score, I'm going to give it a strong 3 out of 5. We'll just put it there. Won't think about it too hard. It's a strong 3 out of 5. It's a good gin for a good price, and it's widely available. This stuff is everywhere. This actually was the last bottle at the store I bought it from, but it does mostly get sold in the higher volume of the 1.75. That's where this sells the most because it's so cheap, because they can sell more of it at a decent price. Would you rather pay $10 for a 750 liter of this, or would you rather pay, $12, $13 for a 1.75 liter of, same thing, So they really do understand their marketing and business structures. And I saw this with another bottle, and I forget off the top of my head what it was. But it's that bottle that was a elusive bottle I couldn't find anywhere. But then I did. What was it? It was, all they had was 175s everywhere. And I had to go way out of town to get that 750. Oh man, I might drop it here or in the comment section. But my fair price, I'm going to leave it alone. I think it's definitely worth more than that, than what they're selling it for. Definitely always going to be more than that. Would I buy this again? I'm probably going to, yeah. But I mean, I got to have a whole plethora of other bottles I have to get to before I start buying seconds. But this would be something I could definitely just pick up without even thinking about it. Like, man, I'd like to have a gin and tonic, but there's no gin at home. And I don't want to wait for the whole video process of doing off the rip and whatnot. I just want to drink something tonight, now, as soon as I get home. Here you go. Well, let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, thanks for stopping by here at Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. I'm sorry this video is now over 13 minutes long. Have a good one.